Shields. Weaponry, yes. Yes, I can make a hammer. Gates, I can make many things with metal. Pans, I can also make a pan. Yes, hooks. I can make many, many things with metals. Now, as a blacksmith, I work primarily with this metal here. Does anybody know what it's called? No. What sort of metal? Yes, it is called iron. And because iron is a black metal, I am known as a blacksmith. Now, if I were to work with gold, I would be known as a goldsmith. Using that course of logic, what would I be known as if I worked with silver?
Silversmith.
Copper?
Coppersmith.
Iron?
Iron. No,
Blacksmith, yes indeed. A smith who works with iron is known as a blacksmith because iron is a black metal. Now I also work with this metal here. Does anybody know what it is?
Silver.
No, it is not silver. If I had this much silver, I would not be working here. Does anybody know it?
Nickel.
No, it is not nickel. Anybody else? Copper. It is pewter, yes indeed, you are correct, madam. And pewter is a white metal. So I'm also known as a whitesmith. But I am not known simply as a whitesmith or as a blacksmith. I am now known as a general smith. Everyone say general smith.
General Smith.
A general smith works with many different kinds of metals. Now, I work with pewter to make many things, such as this cup, spoon in here, and musket balls and many other things with pewter. Beg your pardon. I'm going to sneeze. And it's going to come out. Dear gracious, it's not funny. It's a miserable experience. I know I've lost my train of thought. Pewter, pewter smith, yes, pewter black metal. Oh yes. And pewter is what's called an alloy. Everyone say alloy.
Alloy.
An alloy is a mixture of several different kinds of metals to make one particular metal that has a certain set of characteristics that are desired. Pewter, for example, has a very low melting point of around 643 degrees. Does anybody know what the melting point of iron is? You there? Nope, much higher than that.
800.
Huh?
800.
No, much higher than 800. You there? Oh, you? 1800? No, higher than that. 1000? Higher than that? Nope, more than that. What? 3000, you are extremely close. Iron melts at around 2900 degrees. 2900 degrees is about the temperature that iron melts. Now, there are two different particular ways to manipulate metal, as a smith would do. And these two different ways are known as forging and casting. Everyone say forging and casting.
Forging and casting.
Now, forging is the bashing and banging and smashing and pulling and squeezing of metal. Now, do you believe that I would be able to bend this piece of iron with my bare hands?
No.
No, it is far too hard. Now, to bend it, I use my forge right here. As you can see, I am heating up this piece of metal right here. And what happens when I heat the metal?
It's gonna melt.
Yes, it will melt, but it is not melting yet. What is happening to it right now? What happens to the metal when it gets hot? Yes, what happens when it heats up?
It's softer.
Yes, it gets softer, much softer. And when it gets softer, it becomes more malleable. Everyone say malleable.
Valuable.
Malleable means soft and manipulatable. That means I can take it, and I can hammer it, and I can flatten it, and I can shape it the way I desire, much easier than if it was hot. Now, if I want to cool this metal, I will quench it. Everyone say quench.
Quench.
And to quench the metal, I will simply douse it into this piece of this pool of water, and it will cool. And that is known as quenching. Now, quenching allows me to touch the metal because then it gets cooler, and at a temperature that I can touch. However, quenching also has another purpose. Quenching cools the metal quite quickly, and all the hot particles of the metal quickly bind together and make the metal much stronger. This is also known as tempering the metal. Everyone say tempering.
Tempering.
Yes, tempering makes metal much harder, and that way it can be used in swords and other weapons. Now, the other way of manipulating metal is known as Yes, indeed, thank you. Indeed. You have forging, and then you have, what was the other way of manipulating metal? And?
Melting.
No, what else? Forging and... No, try, what's the other one when you use a mold? No, not tempering. That is what you do when you're forging something. Anybody else? Casting, it is known as casting. And Casting is when you use a mold. You melt a metal and then you pour it into a mold, and that is called casting. Now I'm going to cast this pewter right here. I have melted it in the pot, which is also known as crucible. Everyone say crucible? Crucible is a container where you melt metals. Now you see it is not very shiny. It has some dirt atop of it that is called slag. Everyone say slag.
Slag.
And to remove the slag, I am going to put a small amount of wax onto the slag, and this will burn away, which is a purification process. I'll take it here. And this will burn away and draw out much of the slag and purify the pewter. And I want to do this because do you believe that if I were to pour the pewter into the mold with all this slag on it, that it would be a very good thing if the slag got into the mold? Do you think it's good if slag gets into a mold?
No.
No, indeed not. And now you see a much more pure pewter. Indeed, it's very shiny. Very shiny. Yes, I'll get there. I cannot swing this about. For if I swing about the crucible, it will fling hot molten metal upon you and you will cry and scream. Very well, step back. Everyone step back away from my bench. I do not want you to get burned. I'm going to pour the pewter into the mold. Let it sit for a second. Get this. Open the mold. And now I have a 75 caliber musket ball used in our muskets. If you desire a musket ball, you will not get one from me. However, you may purchase them from our mercantile post. We sell musket balls at the mercantile post. Now, can anybody give me a reason why I would prefer to cast something rather than forge it? What is better with casting than it is with forging? Anybody at all? Can anybody tell me why casting can be better than forging? No one? Nobody at all. Do you believe that I would be able to get such a detailed and round ball with a hammer?
No.
No, indeed not. And casting allows me to use a very detailed mold that lets me make a very precise object that I would not be able to get using forging techniques such as a hammer. A hammer is not very precise or detailed, so I would want to use a mold and cast the item I desire. Yes, please do not touch my bench. Do not touch the crucible. And another musket ball.
Hey, it looks like Mickey. Sorry.
Oh, it does look like Mickey.
It's a hidden Mickey.
Now, can anyone explain why the pewter in the pot is still molten, whereas the pewter on the plate is solid? Anybody at all? You there?
It's already done up.
No, metal does not dry, it solidifies. Why? The pewter in the pot, why is that molten, whereas the pewter on the pan has solidified? Anybody? You there? Yes, the pan is cooler and takes away the heat from the pewter, so it solidifies. I shall demonstrate that. Because pewter has such a low melting temperature, it also has a low solidifying temperature. So I am going to put the pewter onto the pan. The molten metal goes onto the pan. I'm going to step over here for a moment. And by the time I come back, it is already solid. And because, no, you may not have the pewter. If you desire the pewter, you will go into the mercantile post and purchase a pewter soldier or a musket ball. I will not give you any pewter or any iron, because that is not my job. I simply make things, I do not sell them. Now, does anybody have any questions for me? Any questions at all? Anybody? Yes, you know.
When the pewter was...
Yes, when the pewter was what? Molten?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you like break it?
You cannot break a liquid. A molten material is liquid. It is as water. Can you break water?
No.
No, you cannot break water. So you cannot break a molten metal. However, when it is solid, you would be able to break it. Any other questions? Any other questions? Yes, you there?
How long would it take?
How long would it take to make a sword made out of iron? Well, if I desire a very high quality sword, one that is extremely hard and sharp and able to endure many wars and battles, it would take me quite a while. It would not take me a week, it would not take me a month. It may take me up to a year to make a very high quality sword that one would be comfortable using in battle. So it takes quite a while. So you cannot simply melt metal and then pour it into a sword form and make a sword within a day. It takes quite a long time. I know this because I do actually make my own swords and knives. One of the reasons why I'm in this position here. Yes, any other questions? Yes, you there?